OpenAI's GPT 5.1 has been out for about a week now, and like everybody else, I was wondering, is it really going to be that different than what we had before? Then I started to use it for some of my regular tasks that I rely on AI for, and I gotta say, it's quite a bit better. And so in this video, I'm going to quickly tell you what makes GPT 5.1 better, and then we're going to spend a lot of time breaking down 5 simple prompts that any local business can use, especially established contractors, to get real results, even if you don't like touching AI that much. And by the way, all the prompts from this video are going to be in our AI search crash course, so be sure to check out that first link in the description if you want to grab those. But let's get into it. And first, let's talk about what makes GPT 5.1 different. Well, from what I could tell, it's really 2 things, and it's 2 really important things. One is that the tone is better. You may or may not remember, but when they switched from GPT 4.0 to GPT 5, some people lost their damn minds because they fell in love with 4.0. Some people literally. GPT 5 was just a little more curt and to the point. But the nice thing with 5.1 is it seems that they're actually giving it a little bit more personality. And that can be helpful when you're writing copy for your own website, because you don't want to sound like a robot. You want to sound like a human wrote the copy. But you also don't want your AI assistant to be just pure vibes. And so the other thing it's gotten really good at is following directions. I don't know about you, but I've been really frustrated with GPT-5 because sometimes I'll say, do it like this, and it just kind of does its own thing. And that was supposed to be one of the things GPT-5 was good at. But apparently they fixed that with 5.1, and that's really helpful, and we'll take advantage of some of that when it comes to our prompts. And so enough about the changes. You can go watch other videos on YouTube. Let's figure out how we can do this to get more money for your local business. And we'll start with prompt number 1, which is rewriting all of your GBP services at scale. Your Google Business Profile is a little thing that shows up in the map when somebody searches for your service near me. There's a section inside of the back end of the GBP called the services section, and it's really good to fill that out entirely. You can naturally stuff some keywords in there, and people believe that the information tucked inside of these things, which are not publicly facing, can actually help with things like AI overviews. Even though those aren't really showing up in local search that much, it still might be helpful. But you could have dozens of services and you need to fill 300 characters inside of each one. And if you tried to do this back in the GPT 3.5 days, you might have some junk in there right now. So let's get this cleaned up with something that has a better tone and have it follow directions very well. And so let's take advantage of 5.1 and actually create some services that have a decent tone. All right, so here's our prompt. I'm gonna fill some stuff in here. Again, all our prompts are inside our AI search crash course, so just grab that link in the description so that way you don't have to pause and copy and paste and all that good stuff. Here's something we might put for a roofing company. Boom, and there you go. Look how easy that was. And if you're looking for a level up, head over to the back end of your GBP, click Edit Services, and you'll actually get the services that are showing up. Feed those into ChatGPT, and then that way, you'll actually get some good ones. And don't be afraid to also ask it to brainstorm some extra services, because you can put your own services in there. Just make sure that you limit your outputs to 300 characters. If you start getting stuff that's a little too long, just reprompt it. It'll be better at following directions. All right, so that was an easy win, but now let's move on to prompt 2, and that's generating schema for AI SEO. That's right, I'm saying the words AI SEO, even though I pretty much believe that AI SEO is just doing good SEO, but this is the thing that keeps coming up over and over and over again when people talk about AI SEO. And some people argue that this really doesn't matter, but it's an easy win, so we might as well do it. So what the heck is schema? Well, schema is just a little bit of code, which you're going to see here in a second, that tells either search engines or AI tools a little bit more about the back end of your business. This could be information about your business. This could be reviews. It could be FAQs. I'm going to give you a little dose of schema knowledge, and then you can kind of go off to the races from there. The theory is that because AI search tools are skimming the internet, they're able to see this code and use it, even if the traditional search engines have stopped using schema. No matter what, it's a no harm thing to add to your website. So let's talk about how we do it. Now, there are several types of schema in this video. I'm just going to talk about the local business schema, and you can probably use your WordPress plugin for this if you're using WordPress. But if you don't have that ability, I'm showing you how to do it right here. You can add a little bit more information as well. If you want, I can create a whole video on the different types of schema. Leave a comment below, and I'd love to do that at some point. So just let me know if that's something you're interested in seeing. All right, so here's our prompt. Again, it's in the crash course. All right, let's see what we get from this. Okay, now the key is you have to verify what comes out, because 5.1 will still hallucinate. For instance, it added an image here for our logo, but it made that up. So make sure you swap that out with a real image if you're in the same boat as us. Now, if you're gonna put the schema in your site, you wanna double check it really fast, super easy. There's a free tool. Just Google rich results test. And you can either put in a URL or the code. In this case, we're gonna do the code directly into here and just hit test code. And then it'll tell you if there's any mistakes. I can tell you back in the old days, you used to have mistakes all the time. You just keep feeding it back and forth and you'd be good. Most of the time, it's good. So again, you still got to use your human brain to make sure it hasn't made any mistakes or hallucinated any information that's incorrect, created images that don't exist. But once you've done that, you can put it in an HTML block on your website and you're good to go. For local business schema, it's really something you only want on your homepage. If you're using something like an FAQ schema, you'd want that to be on the specific page where it belongs. And for review schema, that could show up on every page of your website. Again, if you want to see a full video on schema, please leave a comment below. I'd love to do that. But I think it's time we move over to prompt number 3, which is optimizing images for SEO. Now, let's say you just finished a project and have all these great images you're about to upload to your website. You get them compressed so that way they don't take forever to load, but they all just say img_number.jpg. That's not going to help us rank. What if we could utilize AI to help us get some better file names, because we think that's a little helpful, but also the alt text that we can put behind the scenes on that image to help search engines show us even more, which helps search engines know what our page is about even more. All right, so let's say we're a home builder in Bend. I got some images, they're just stock photos, but let's say you got your actual project photos. Let's see how it does. All right, let's see how it did. I think this is the first image. This is the second image. Here's the third image, the fourth image, and the fifth image. Now I gotta say that was pretty good. When it comes to writing alt text, we use the tool alttext.ai. It's pretty affordable and it's a WordPress plugin. But for our clients that don't use WordPress, I think we might start using this. Now, if you want to level it up, have it do one more round where it also includes things like the city name in the alt text, but make sure you're writing the alt text so it's actually describing the image for people that have seen difficulties, because we don't want to make it so they can't use our websites. But holy smokes, was that really good? Now, of course, there is a limitation to the amount of files you can do at once. So it looks like you're still limited to 10 photos at a time, but still you saw how fast it was able to do that task. But even if you had 100 images, you could get all your alt text ready in about 5 minutes and probably have it on your website within 15. That's pretty cool. But is it as cool as prompt number 4? Using ChatGPT as your copywriter. If you're unfamiliar with custom GPTs are where you feed specific directions to a little subset of ChatGPT and it uses that information to do specific tasks. For instance, we have a 2-step process where we work with our clients to get a brand script built for them that's based on StoryBrand. So we basically have a guiding document for their business. And then we use a StoryBrand copywriter to take that brand script and make it into all the service and location pages that we need. Now, of course, this is just a rough draft and we have humans go through all this, but still, it's nice to have that foundation and it's really sped up our process. The nice thing about being able to bump up some of our old custom GPTs to 5.1 is it's a little bit cleaner at following directions, and that's nice. And so if you want to follow along at home, we'll have a link to this custom GPT in the AI search crash course. Make sure you change the model to 5.1. You can just click auto and that'll usually get the job done. And then I'm just going to paste the brand script in there and let's go. And what I love about looking at the 5.1 version of this is it's actually following the directions behind the scene way better than I've ever seen it do before. And it's really giving us that story brand feel, and it's broken down by section, which is going to make it really easy to put into a service page. By the way, if you want to steal our perfect on-page SEO strategy, well then check out this video where I show you how to make the ideal service or location page. Really helpful video. All right, and now it's time to share one more prompt, and this isn't necessarily 5.1, but I wanted to make sure I put this out into the wild, so I hope you like prompt number 5, having a competitor research agent. That's right, for this last prompt, we're actually gonna dig in and we're gonna use a feature that isn't necessarily exclusive to 5.1, but we're gonna go in here, we're gonna turn on agent mode because we want it to actually go out and take actions for us. Now, I will say when I compare ChatGPT's agent mode to something like Manus that's willing to run code on its own, Manus is still a little bit better at this task. And the reason for that is usually when I do this, I want to see the technical SEO. I want to see what their SEO hotspots look like. I want to know what the SEO title is, the meta description, the permalink, the H1. And you can do that with something called the curl command. Terminal fans out there? Anyone? ChatGPT refuses to do that kind of stuff, but with a looser agent like Manus, you can actually pull that off. But I do like the reports that ChatGPT gives us better, so I just want to show you what this looks like in action. Do remember that you only get so many agent uses per month, so be mindful of that. But you just click here and it starts going through the actions and it begins performing tasks on its own. I didn't actually put in the business here. Whoops. Oh well. Now, like any good cooking show, I've already gotten my results here, so we're just gonna skip ahead to the finish line. It actually went through, looked at the competitors, ignored the listicles, and came back with a nice report. And so it broke down what some of the top businesses were doing well, what they could improve, and it did its best at reporting back the SEO information, but it actually was just guessing on that. However, it was cool that it did give me a CSV, and so this prompt definitely, I would say, is not perfected yet. I think we need agent mode to do just a little bit more for us, but the fact that it went out for about 5 minutes and gave me some information, so at least I know who those businesses are, what they're doing, what they're not doing, is just taking away some more of the work from us. And again, that prompt's not quite there yet, but we're going to keep working on it. And when agent mode's ready to roll, I will definitely be sharing it with y'all. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel because we're going to keep trying to figure this out as we get into 2026 and we keep digging into using AI tools more when it comes to showing up for local SEO. Woo! We got through 5 prompts, but really we're just scraping the surface of what GPT 5.1 can really do for your SEO efforts. We could have had agent mode research your competitors' lowest reviews so you can see what pain points there are in your industry. We could have fed 5.1 thinking your sitemap and seen if it could come up with an internal linking structure. And of course, we could have it help us write GVP posts, but I think we'll save that for another video. If you want to easily copy and paste all of these prompts, not to mention get hours of content from our AI search crash course, then make sure you go to the first link in the description below. Look, here's the thing. AI is not going to replace SEOs, but the SEOs that use AI are going to replace the ones that don't. If you have a small business, serves local customers, using these tools can help you stay ahead of the competition. Now you know how to use ChatGPT 5.1 even better. Again, if you want to steal the prompts, the AI search crash course is in the description below. And if you want to see my AI search masterclass, then why don't you check out this video. I'll catch you in the next one.